So we all know by now that Donald Trump gave a disastrous speech in Philadelphia over the weekend, and usually in conjunction with these speeches, he stages some publicity stunt to make him seem that he's got support in different areas. And in Philadelphia, he stopped to get a Philly cheesesteak. Now, there are lots of famous Philly cheesesteak locations in Philadelphia, but the one that Donald Trump picks is the one involving felons who own the place who are currently incarcerated. That's right. The founder of the Philadelphia cheesesteak shop, Tony and Luke's, that Donald Trump visited over the weekend in conjunction with his speech, was sentenced to tax fraud involving over $8 million or so in tax fraud over nearly a decade-year period. That's where Donald Trump stopped. It had to be with a felon, as this one account says. Turns out that the owners of the cheesesteak joint that Trump went in Philly today are currently in prison for tax fraud because, of course, that's the joint that Donald Trump would choose for his stage visit. You see right there in the background the stage visit as they're kind of getting ready for Donald Trump to arrive. Let's just take a look at the background, the rap sheet of the owners where convicted felon Trump decided to visit. Out of all the famous cheesesteak places, that's where Donald Trump went. And then I also want to show you that this is a theme. Donald Trump goes to the Bronx. Donald Trump brings on stage people who were recently indicted, who were alleged to be leaders of the Crip gang who terrorized New York City and have been accused of at least 12 attempted murders and one actual murder in a 140-count indictment. Donald Trump goes to New Jersey, gives a speech at Wildwood, New Jersey. Who does he bring on stage? Lawrence Taylor, who's on the registered sex offender list. That's who Donald Trump brings on stage there. Donald Trump's spiritual advisor recently confessed to sexually assaulting a 12-year-old girl. I could go on and on. Perhaps I will, to expose this disgusting group of people. Why don't we do that together? How about we do what the media isn't doing and take a dive here, a deep dive, if you will. So the founder of the Philadelphia cheesesteak shop, Tony and Luke's, sentenced for tax fraud. Anthony Lucidonio Sr., 84, and his son Nicholas Lucidonio, 57, were charged with conspiracy to defraud the IRS earlier this year. The founders of the original Tony Luke's and one of his sons were sentenced to nearly 2 years in prison for pleading guilty to tax fraud. Anthony Sr. and Nicholas, 84 and 57 years old, respectively, were charged with conspiracy to defraud the IRS. Kindred spirits. Right? The Trump organization is a convicted felony organization for tax fraud. So Donald Trump, one tax cheat to the next. They will both serve 20 months after admitting they cheated on their payroll and personal income taxes for years, hiding more than $8 million in sales from 2006 to 2016. Sounds a lot like the felony Trump organization. Authorities say that the Lucidonios also committed employment tax fraud by paying employees off the books in cash. Sounds a little bit like Alan Weisselberg and Donald Trump there. Quote, for a decade, these successful restaurateurs boldly cooked the books, cheating the government and honest taxpayers alike, said U.S. Attorney Romero. As the investigation and prosecution showed, tax fraud is a crime with some pretty high stakes, with violators held fully accountable. Here is Donald Trump at this location, and he puts no tax on tips, one of Donald Trump's other kind of new promises that he's not going to keep as he tries to make promises to everybody. Remember the recent promise when he was speaking to tech bros recently, and he says, if anybody graduates from college, they get an automatic green card, which would seem to go against, I don't know, his entire campaign of deport everyone, no matter what. So then the campaign had to walk that back, but it doesn't matter. Just lie to everybody. But watch Donald Trump at this location, one convicted felon at the location where the other individuals who founded it pled guilty of tax fraud. Kindred spirits. Play the clip.
No tax on tips. Yeah!
as this other account says. Can't imagine anything more on brand than Trump choosing the cheesesteak place whose owner is currently in prison for committing tax fraud there. And here is the MAGA rappers. These are some of the kind of key people in the Republican Party now, the key Republican influencers. Here they are talking about this cheesesteak location. Play this clip.
What's up? We out here in Philadelphia. You see what it is, Tony and Nick's. Trump came through here yesterday. They said they got the best cheesesteaks in Philly. We're going to find out right now. Let's see.
Let's go check it out. What's up with the Trump Latinos? We heard Trump came through and tipped everybody $500. Did he do that?
Yeah. I work here and I'm perfectly honest, the tip money in my pocket. Yes.
Let's see. You got a 500 in there?
But, yeah, man, it's here. More importantly, there was a gazillion people in the restaurant. He didn't ignore one person. He wasn't unkind to nobody. Like, just a warm, solid person, and you can feel that when you be around him. Man, before you judge Trump, like, I challenge you to really look into who Trump is, and better yet, try to encounter him, meet him in person. He's all around. Like, if you travel, meet him. I bet you like him.
Facts. We heard they got the good cheesesteak, so
yeah,
we about to try them out right now. Let's not.
Okay, let's take a deeper look as well, because I want to show you other receipts that this isn't just unique to this one stop. Recently, Donald Trump went to Wildwood, New Jersey, lied about the crowd size, brought on stage a registered sex offender with him, Lawrence Taylor. Could you imagine President Biden's like, I'm going to bring on stage with me a registered sex offender? Lawrence Taylor was arrested and convicted for having sex with a 16-year-old. He thought she was a prostitute. That is who he brought on stage. And Lawrence Taylor had pled guilty. What about Donald Trump's spiritual advisor, Robert Morris, who just resigned as pastor from his mega church after admitting to raping a 12-year-old girl? Here is, just so you can see for yourself, here is Donald Trump introducing his very, very close friend and spiritual advisor. Play this clip.
And Gateway Church, the team has been incredible in hosting us. And I'd now like to ask Pastor Morris and Bishop Jackson to lead us in prayer.
Most clothes are uncomfortable or too tight or never actually the size you really are, not to mention the annoyance of trying to put a good outfit together. Everyone wants to dress their best and look good at all times because, frankly, it's a confidence booster. So here's the deal. Men's closets were due for a radical reinvention, and Rhone stepped up to the challenge. Rhone's commuter collection is the most comfortable, breathable, and flexible set of products known to man, and here's why. Rhone helps you get ready for any occasion with the commuter collection, which offers the world's most comfortable pants, dress shirts, quarter zips, and polos. You never have to worry about what to wear when you have the Rhone commuter collection. Rhone's comfortable four-way stretch fabric provides breathability and flexibility that leaves you free to enjoy what life throws your way, from your commute to work to your 18 holes of golf. It's time to feel confident again without the hassle. With Rhone's wrinkle release technology, wrinkles disappear as you stretch and wear the products. It's that easy. And with Gold Fusion anti-odor technology, you'll be smelling fresh and clean all day long. And on top of that, Rhone is 100% machine washable, so you can ditch the dry cleaner altogether. I absolutely love Rhone. It's comfortable yet professional and has truly become my favorite clothing. We're on the move a lot, whether it's jumping from meeting to meeting or catching a flight or doing a hot take, whatever. Rhone Commuter Collection has never let me down. The versatility and overall comfort of the collection is undefeated. Even after I wear it all day, I still feel super fresh because of that Gold Fusion anti-odor technology. The Commuter Collection can get you through any workday and straight into whatever comes next. Head to Rhone.com/Meidas and use that promo code Meidas to save 20% off your entire order. That's 20% off your entire order when you head to RHONE.com/MEIDAS and use that code Meidas. It's time to find your corner office comfort. Shouldn't surprise you, though, Donald Trump was very close friends with Jeffrey Epstein. His name appears all over Jeffrey Epstein's flight log. Donald Trump said he really likes Jeffrey Epstein. Donald Trump said Jeffrey Epstein was a really good guy who likes girls on the younger side. That's a quote from Donald Trump. Then Donald Trump went and gave that speech in the Bronx. It was a small crowd, 2,000, 3,000 max. Trump lied about it, said there was 25,000 people there. The media reports that. Not that he calls on stage Sleepy Hollow and Chef G were kind of the keynote people, because Donald Trump was trying to show this is why Donald Trump thinks that black people should vote for him, because he's got Sleepy Hollow and Chef G on stage. I'm not making this up. Who were indicted last May along with 30 other gang members on a 140-count criminal indictment, including murder, and at least 12 attempted murders. Chef G recently posted a $1.5 million cash bond. Here is how the local New York news reported on it. Play this clip.
Of a violent gang taken off the streets, and the two famous rappers who could be looking at serious prison time. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Rana Novini in for Adam Cooperstein. And prosecutors say those gang members shot at rivals in broad daylight and then bragged about it on social media. At the center of it all, two well-known rappers from Brooklyn. Rappers Chef G and Sleepy Hollow are accused of helping carry out violence against rival gang members in Flatbush and Crown Heights. Police say they are members of the Crips. The two rappers were among 32 alleged gang members charged today in a 140-count indictment. The DA saying the gang is linked to 12 shootings and one murder, which was caught on camera.
So Donald Trump, the convicted felon, while crime is decreasing in New York, Donald Trump is promoting people who are accused of being some of the most violent criminals terrorizing New York. That is never something that we should normalize like corporate media does. Then Donald Trump goes to what he claims is a black church in Detroit and fills it with white MAGA people wearing their MAGA hats and screaming Trump's name, or I should say Chump's name, in a house of worship. And who was there with Donald Trump, who's part of his Detroit Black Americans Coalition? None other than the former mayor, Kwame Kilpatrick, also a convicted felon on fraud and racketeering. So that's who was there. Oh, I should show you this too. Forgot to play you this clip. When Donald Trump brought Chef G and Sleepy Hollow on, one of the things that he emphasized was he really liked their grill, and he was going to get teeth like that, he said. Play this clip.
Oh, I like that. I want to get that done.
President Trump, oh man. One thing I want to say. One thing I want to say. They always gonna whisper your accomplishments and shout your failures. Trump gonna shout the wins for all of us.
Make America great again.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. That's where I like those teeth. I want to find out where you did. I got to get my teeth like that.
Then, of course, you have the people in Donald Trump's inner circle who have been arrested and convicted of serious crimes. Steve Bannon, Peter Navarro, Paul Manafort, George Papadopoulos, Roger Stone, Rick Gates, Alan Weisselberg. You had Mike Flynn, who pled guilty, Michael Cohen, who warned everybody Donald Trump's behavior as well. Sidney Powell, Trump's lawyer. Ken Chesborough, Trump's lawyer, pled guilty. Here you have Jenna Ellis. Remember this moment where she pled guilty for her crimes in connection with representing Donald Trump? Here she was crying as she pled guilty. Play the clip.
As an attorney who is also a Christian, I take my responsibilities as a lawyer very seriously, and I endeavor to be a person of sound moral and ethical character in all of my dealings. In the wake of the 2020 presidential election, I believed that challenging the results on behalf of President Trump should be pursued in a just and legal way. I endeavored to represent my client to the best of my ability. I relied on others, including lawyers with many more years of experience than I, to provide me with true and reliable information, especially since my role involved speaking to the media and to legislators in various states. What I did not do, but should have done, Your Honor, was to make sure that the facts the other lawyers alleged to be true were in fact true. In the frenetic pace of attempting to raise challenges to the election in several states, including Georgia, I failed to do my due diligence. I believe in and I value election integrity. If I knew then what I know now, I would have declined to represent Donald Trump in these post-election challenges. I look back on this whole experience with deep remorse. For those failures of mine, Your Honor, I have taken responsibility already before the Colorado bar who censured me, and I now take responsibility before this court and apologize to the people of Georgia. Thank you.
And then, of course, Donald Trump at all of his speeches, he either praises Al Capone, mafia. This is what he talks about in lots of speeches. He goes, the great Al Capone. That's when Donald Trump gives speeches, he thinks that's what the American people want to hear, him praising mafia leaders. So here he is praising Al Capone. Play this clip.
First time in history. And I always say Al Capone, the greatest of them all, gangster, Scarface.
And then he sometimes, as he would call it, interpose. He'll interpose Al Capone, and sometimes with Hannibal Lecter, the fictitious cannibal murderer. Donald Trump says that he's close friends with Hannibal Lecter, who's not a real person, and they get along very well. He talks about this in his speeches. Here, play this clip.
Silence of the Lambs. Has anyone ever seen The Silence of the Lambs? The late, great Hannibal Lecter is a wonderful man. He oftentimes would have a friend for dinner. Remember the last scene? Excuse me, I'm about to have a friend for dinner as this poor doctor walked by. I'm about to have a friend for dinner, but Hannibal Lecter, congratulations, the late, great Hannibal Lecter. We have people that are being released into our country that we don't want in our country.
And then in terms of the politicians Donald Trump is closest to, people like Matt Gaetz, who have been accused of also sexually assaulting minors. See a theme here? You see a through line going on here? Here's what Donald Trump said about Matt Gaetz.
I did exactly what Matt Gaetz would have done, okay? Except he might have been a little bit more violent about it.
Look, folks, it's important to call all of this out because none of it is normal. Donald Trump, a convicted felon, heading to sentencing soon. Even when he gets a cheesesteak, a Philly cheesesteak, it's got to be at a location founded by a convicted felon. All he does is associate himself with felons. Law and order, people. Law and order. This ain't it. That ain't conservative. That's some MAGA lunacy, MAGA criminality. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let's get to 3 million subscribers. Let's get there together. Hit subscribe. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.